Today I want to break down a federal award that stood out to me, not because it was won by a GCExperts client, but because it's a perfect example of how wide, how diverse, and how opportunity-rich the federal marketplace really is. This is the award for the Bayou Sauvage National Wildlife Refuge Observation Deck Rehabilitation Project, a $436,936 job awarded to Durable Piling Restoration, LLC, out of Marksville, Louisiana. And I want to walk you through who this team is, what the job entails, why the government selected them, and what anyone paying attention to federal work can learn from it. Let's start with the company. Durable Piling Restoration is a Louisiana small business specializing in timber repair, piling restoration, boardwalk and pier rehab, and structural upgrades for outdoor elevated systems. They're not a massive nationwide group. They're a focused, experienced team that understands the real-world conditions of the Gulf, the marshes, the waterways, the humidity, the storms, all the elements that tear apart these kinds of structures. They've done similar work for federal agencies in the past, including the U.S. Forest Service, handling timber bridge repairs and structural upgrades. That kind of past performance signals reliability. It tells the government these people know how to work in difficult terrain. They understand environmental sensitivity. They show up and deliver. And that's exactly what this job requires. Bayou Sauvage National Wildlife Refuge, just outside New Orleans, is one of the largest urban wildlife refuges in the country. It features vast marshlands, migratory bird habitats, and several public access points, including elevated observation decks. These platforms let visitors safely view wildlife without damaging sensitive habitat. But years of storms, flooding, moisture, UV exposure, and general aging have taken a toll. The decks have become unsafe, deteriorated, and in some areas structurally compromised. So the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service issued a project to rehabilitate them, not demolish and replace, but repair, reinforce, and restore the existing structures. Rehabilitation is always more complex than new construction because you're working with hidden deterioration, unknown conditions, and materials that may or may not still be viable. You have to figure out what can stay, what must go, and how to bring the entire platform up to a safe, durable, long-lasting standard. Durable piling restoration is built for exactly that kind of work. Let me paint the reality of field conditions. You're in a protected wetland environment. You can't just run heavy equipment wherever you want. You can't leave debris in marsh areas. You have to respect wildlife timing, protected vegetation, nesting seasons, and water flow patterns. You're also dealing with mud, water, unstable ground, mosquitoes, humidity, and unpredictable weather. This isn't a parking lot rehab, it's marsh work. The job requires evaluating timber spans, replacing compromised joists, installing new posts or footings, updating fasteners, reinforcing the frame, adjusting deck elevation, correcting structural alignment, and ensuring the completed platforms support the public safely. This is precision work, and it's specialized. Now here's the piece most people miss. The federal government doesn't award these projects to the flashiest team or the lowest price. They award them to the team that gives them confidence, the team whose past performance aligns with the project, the team that understands the environment, the team that communicates clearly and demonstrates reliability. Durable Piling Restoration won because their experience matches the project's needs. They have field history in similar conditions. Their past performance aligns with this type of work. They present themselves professionally and consistently. They reduce the government's risk, which is the biggest piece of all. This is a small business winning a nearly $500,000 award because they fit the project perfectly. It also highlights a broader trend inside federal spending. Rehabilitation and repair work is exploding. People think the federal marketplace is all big buildings, new construction, and massive infrastructure jobs. It's not. A huge portion of federal dollars goes toward repairing, restoring, and maintaining the facilities, platforms, boardwalks, trails, docks, shelters, and public use structures that already exist. This job is a textbook example. Now, why does this matter for the refuge? These observation decks aren't just platforms. They're the gateway for the public to experience the marsh. Families, students, photographers, hikers, they all use these structures. When the decks deteriorate, the public loses access. When the public loses access, the refuge loses engagement. And engagement is the lifeblood of conservation. Rehabilitating these decks restores that access, strengthens the refuge's visibility, and reinforces the connection between people and natural habitats. Now let me give you the takeaway for anyone who's watching the federal space closely. You don't have to be everything. You don't have to chase every job. You don't have to have a massive menu of services. You need a lane. You need a specialty. You need to do that specialty well. Durable piling restoration didn't try to be a generalist. They leaned into the expertise they already had: piling repair, timber rehab, outdoor structural restoration, and the federal system rewarded them. That's the story here. A focused Louisiana team wins a $436,936 award because they know their craft, they match the need, and the federal government trusts them to deliver. And if you're listening to this and you want to talk about this project or any federal opportunities like it, you can schedule a Zoom with me at GCExperts.com/Zoom. Let's break down what these awards mean, how they work, and how you can position yourself to win in this space. See you in the next one.